Welcome to the kidsministry.blog podcast. Every episode, we share ideas, tips, and resources to help your children's ministry thrive.
Today, we're diving into a really honest piece from kidsministry.blog. It's all about running a successful trunk or treat.
Right.
And, you hear trunk or treat, and maybe you think, okay, throw some candy in a parking lot. How hard could it be?
Yeah. It seems straightforward enough on the surface.
But this source, it really lays out how it's actually way more complicated than you'd imagine. The author talks about this like sinking feeling when September hits, dreading the planning. They actually say, this event going to kill me 1 year.
Wow, that's intense. Tells you something about the stress involved.
Totally. They look back at last year and call it a complete disaster.
Yeah.
Picture this. Rain, mud pit parking lot.
Oh, no.
Half the volunteers just didn't show up. Candy completely gone by 6:40 p.m.
6:40, that's early.
And parents are just giving these death stares like the author personally ruined Halloween for their kids.
Right.
Just, pure chaos.
It's interesting, though, isn't it? Because despite all that chaos, all those complaints you just know are happening, boards, leadership, they often keep pushing these things. They see it as a great outreach opportunity.
Yeah, families love it. That's the line.
Exactly. So there's this tension. And that's kind of our mission today, I think, to look at the lessons learned from that disaster.
Okay.
And figure out how you turn that potential breakdown, that dread, into something that actually genuinely connects the community, something valuable.
So after that mud pit and the death stares last year, where do you even start fixing things? It sounds like maybe volunteer coordination was a big one, that headless chicken situation they mentioned.
That's a great phrase for it, isn't it? And yeah, that was crucial. They shifted from just kind of hoping people would show up and help,
which never works.
Right, to what they call proactive risk mitigation. It wasn't just getting more volunteers, it was getting backups, like 2 backups for every single volunteer slot.
Wow, okay. Serious planning.
And importantly, assigning specific jobs. No more of that vague just pitch in where needed.
So everyone knew exactly what they were supposed to be doing.
Precisely. It stopped that frantic running around and meant things actually got done. That's a takeaway for pretty much any event, really, big or small.
Okay, so volunteers handled. But what about the other unpredictable stuff, like the weather? That rain last year sounds like a nightmare.
Absolutely. And their approach here is about planning for the unplannable.
Right.
Basically acknowledging, as they put it, Mother Nature hates church events. You kind of have to expect the worst.
Yeah, seems that way sometimes.
So what did they do?
Super practical. They decided to rent pop-up tents for every single car. Doesn't matter what the forecast says, just assume you'll need them.
That makes sense. Takes away one huge variable.
And they're even thinking about moving the date earlier next year, trying to dodge the worst of the bad weather season altogether, building in that resilience.
Okay, now this one, I could really picture the candy inequality wars. That sounds familiar.
Right.
Some cars are mobbed and run out instantly. Others have piles left.
Oh, yeah. Total potential for meltdowns, right? From kids and parents. Definitely. So how did they tackle that? Seems like a really tricky one.
Their solution seems simple, but it gets at something deeper. They just decided to pre-purchase all the candy themselves, centrally. And then they distribute equal amounts to every single car trunk. Yes, it costs more up front, no doubt.
But it avoids the chaos.
Exactly. It avoids the parent drama nobody needs, as the blog says. And it makes sure every kid has a similar experience, which is really about fairness. Designing fairness right into the event.
And the costume contest. That sounds like another potential minefield for tears. They didn't just do everyone gets a prize, did they?
Well, sort of, but it's maybe a bit more nuanced than just participation trophies. They realized that having clear winners and losers in the past...
And lots of crying kids.
Pretty much. Half the kids going home upset. So now the approach is everyone gets a prize for something.
How does that work?
They just make up categories right there on the spot. Most creative, maybe funniest, scariest, sparkliest, you name it.
I see.
The point is, every kid gets recognized for something. It completely changes the vibe from competition to just joyful recognition. It's a subtle shift, but really powerful.
Okay, so they tackled the people problems, the weather, the candy. What about just the basic logistics like parking lot traffic?
Yeah.
Safety. That sounds like it could get messy fast.
Yeah, and this moves into what you might call proactive safety design, thinking ahead about how people will move around.
Right.
So the blog stresses having really clear traffic direction, marked spots for the trunk cars, separate parking for guests, clear paths for people to walk.
Makes sense.
And often having a volunteer who is, let's say, naturally bossy, directing the flow helps a lot.
I know the type. essential sometimes.
Totally. And for general safety, like a proper first aid station, volunteers with flashlights walking around, and clear rules like no running between cars.
So identifying the potential problems before they happen.
Exactly. Engineering the hazards out rather than just reacting when something goes wrong.
It really sounds like a big theme was simplification too. Like cutting back on stuff that maybe wasn't essential, decorations, food, even the timing.
That is definitely a key takeaway here. They realized less can be more effective. They found simple decorations work just fine.
People aren't really there for elaborate decor anyway.
Probably not. And a simple food plan, maybe just a hot chocolate station, some pizza slices, easy stuff.
Manageable.
And time is huge. They aim for an hour and a half max because, kids' attention spans.
It's true. Any longer and things start to fall apart.
Right. The goal shifted away from being this Pinterest perfect, overwhelming production and more towards just a sustainable, enjoyable community time. Putting the energy into connection, not complicated setups nobody can keep up year after year.
So it's quite a transformation, isn't it? Going from that organizer dreading another breakdown in a church bathroom.
Yeah, that line really stuck with me.
To an event where families actually want to participate and help out. It seems the big lesson isn't about, perfect execution or the fanciest trunks.
Mm-hmm. You nailed it. That's the core idea. The real value they found was in just creating that space, a place where families can relax, have fun together, and kids can just be kids. No pressure to perform, no need to compete, just simple fun.
It really makes you think.
It does. It reinforces that idea that sometimes these straightforward community gatherings, when they're thoughtfully planned with things like fairness and safety in mind, they can actually build stronger, more lasting connections than some huge, elaborate program that just burns everyone out. Sustainability matters.
So thinking about that, here's something for you, the listener, to maybe mull over. What seemingly simple event in your own community or maybe your organization feels like a logistical nightmare right now?
Mm-hmm.
Could it be transformed into something that really connects people just by rethinking a few of those key details? By focusing on that proactive planning and designing for human connection, like we saw here.
Thanks for listening. To find more ideas, tips, and resources, go to kidsministry.blog. We'll see you next time.